10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
All right. We are here at the Dishmaster.com ready for takeoff. Thank you. Thank you to Rob in the background for that wonderful lead-in. That was a brilliant countdown choice. All right. I'm here with my number 2, Miss T Money.
Hello, everybody.
She is also known as my Robin Quivers, mostly because of her large, beautiful breasts.
Thank you.
Which I'm often distracted by due to my own very small ones. But
it happens.
You know what? It's not the size, it's the shape. Right, T?
Exactly.
All right, so this is our third podcast where we talk about all ridiculous things that happened in the week with celebrity news. And, well, those celebrities are crazy, so we have a lot to talk about today. We will start with reality television.
Yes.
Okay. First on the list is one of my favorite shows to talk about, The Voice.
Oh, let's do this.
I know T is also a big fan of this show. We basically annihilated Christina Aguilera the last show.
It was out of love.
Yeah, and I think that this show is no exception. We might as well do Christina Aguilera bashing part 2.
Let's.
Yeah, I think. Why not?
Yeah.
All right. So if you did not watch the last show, you said you did not watch last week's show. So let me give you the lowdown on all the things that happened. So first of all, Justin Bieber was on the show. I don't know if this was last week or the week before. Did you see the Justin Bieber when he came on to announce something? I don't know. I put it on mute. I'm really not a Justin Bieber fan at all.
Over him.
I don't get Justin Bieber at all, by the way. Like,
you don't have Bieber fever.
I'm certain that if you transported me back to my teenage years, I would not find him attractive. I mean, I don't get it. He's prepubescent, and then you see these pictures.
Feminine.
You see these pictures of him and Selena Gomez, and she's straddling him, and they're laying on the beach, and they're this young, happy couple, and both of them look like they are prepubescent to me.
Yeah, because they kind of are.
It's disturbing. It's so weird, and he's not attractive. I just don't get it. I mean, maybe it's too mean to say that, but I'm just confused by the whole thing. And then he's got that single out called Boyfriend, and what's so great about that single is all the tabloids and blogosphere are saying Justin Bieber's new boyfriend as the title because some genius decided to pick the title Boyfriend for his single. So every single promotional vehicle says Justin Bieber has a new boyfriend. So he's basically a homosexual in the media.
Yes.
Major fail.
It's, somewhat accurate, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, right.
What are you going to do?
So anyway, Justin Bieber goes on The Voice to announce, I guess, his new record. Again, I really wasn't paying attention. And then
this is Christina, right?
Right. So no, he went up to the judges to give them a hug, and then she sort of gave this sourpuss face and barely gave him a hug. She couldn't.
He actually has a career.
Exactly. She couldn't be bothered. So then all the news people, on the blogs basically said what was wrong with Christina. Why does she hate the Biebs, So then she posts kind of a funny tweet that says, can a girl have Bieber fever? I was embarrassed. Thank you. And I thought, obviously your publicist told you to write that.
Obviously.
Come on. So, but anyway, I don't even know where I was going with that story other than to bash Justin Bieber for a moment. But anyway, so back to why we hate Christina Aguilera. So then The Wanted comes on. Have you heard of The Wanted?
Yeah, yes.
I'm not, I'm confused. I don't understand what's happening in music, but it's ridiculous. Anyway, so
it's taking a turn and I don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
It scares me.
But anyway, so they perform on The Voice. Again, I'm not so sure. I had the TV on mute. And then they went on a few interviews after and said Christina Aguilera is a huge bitch. She wasn't nice to us.
Uh-oh.
And then they sort of couched it with, well, maybe she's not a bitch in real life, but that was our experience. And I thought, no,
that's the general consensus.
Yeah, everybody does think she's a bitch. And I was talking to a few of my friends about this the other day. All those judges look bored out of their mind now.
Yeah.
Like they clearly took the show for the idea that it would resurrect their career, it would be a huge hit. And it has done that, and now they're done.
Yeah,
which
they're
happens
completely over it now.
Yeah, it happens all the time in the business. You want to resurrect your career, you do it, you want to do it for a year, and then they keep renewing your contract. You're basically in prison, and you're angry about it.
Exactly.
So
and you become resentful.
Yeah, so even when you look at CeeLo, he's wearing sunglasses probably because he's falling asleep. He's just
if you really think about it, during some of the auditions, you're kind of sitting there thinking, what's going on? Because it looks like he's dozing.
I actually think he might literally be asleep.
Yeah, I have a feeling he might be, because he says the same thing every time. I think you sounded wonderful. You're amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, pretty girl.
Yeah, and then on the last show, my favorite part was when Adam Levine's girl on his team or whatever performed, and I guess the producers had some flying trapeze person in the background that Adam Levine didn't know about, and he said, that really bummed me out. I wasn't aware that they were going to have a flying trapeze person in the background. And then Christina Aguilera chimes in and says, well, Adam, if you were involved in every aspect of your team person's performance or whatever, you would have known about that.
Oh,
and then,
that bitch.
Oh, she's such a bitch.
Shut your mouth.
She's probably getting back at him for the comment when he said she's one of the best singers in the world, but not one of the best coaches. And
it's true.
Yeah. So then Adam didn't hear her, and then he leans into CeeLo and says, what did she say? He couldn't figure out what she said, and she just kept taking digs at him the entire time. And I thought, why don't you two just go have sex or something? Clearly,
I've been trying to figure out their dynamic since the beginning.
I know.
Either she really, really hates him, or there's a lot of sexual tension going on there.
I think we're onto something. I think there's sexual tension.
Yeah.
I think
they need to work it out.
Maybe. I think she might want to have sex with him.
I concur with that.
And maybe not the other way around.
Exactly. I think you're going to have to get him pretty fucked up in order for that to happen.
Yeah. But I just have to give The Wanted a lot of credit, because nothing pleases me more than when celebrities just openly discuss other celebrities' poor behavior and put them on blast. It's just, it makes me very happy. I love it.
Frankly.
All right, next we're just breezing through off the reality television topic and on to our next topic. Please drum roll for this. This is a good one. When does that end? Okay. Next topic is celebrity feuds.
Yes. All
right. Did you or did you not see the Rosie O'Donnell, Lindsay Lohan bashing?
Oh, Lord.
I'm not sure if you saw it. Did you see her on the Today Show saying basically that Lindsay Lohan is a hot mess and doesn't deserve to work? Did you see this?
Yes.
Okay.
We all know that she's a hot mess. Like, the girl's working through some stuff. All right.
So basically, for those who didn't see it, I posted about it on thedishmaster.com.
Get inside the dish.
So, take a sip of my drink. All right. Rosie O'Donnell, basically they announced, she was on the Today Show for one of those segments where it's one of those ADD segments. She's with Star Jones and Donnie Deutsch.
Yeah.
And they're talking about all things in the news. And Matt Lauer, who annoys me, but that's neither here nor there. Most people do.
Another story for another day.
Yeah. One day I'll do my Matt Lauer bashing because, man, he drives me crazy.
Tune in next week. Folks.
Yeah. Next week, there'll be a topic called All the People the Dishmaster Hates. So Matt Lauer then says, how do we feel about Lindsay Lohan being the next Elizabeth Taylor? She's playing her in a role or whatever.
Right.
So then Rosie O'Donnell just says, she shouldn't play her because she's a mess and she can't get her shit together. And she barely made it through SNL. She didn't show up for rehearsals. And so she doesn't belong basically working at all. So let's just take a step back before we talk about Lindsay Lohan's
I just
response.
want to say, hey, Roro, remember that time you got fired twice?
Well,
good times.
Okay, I obviously didn't brief you beforehand. I love Rosie O'Donnell. So
well, we're just going to agree to disagree, okay?
I love her. So anyway, okay, so Rosie O'Donnell, I don't know anything about whether Lindsay Lohan showed up to the SNL auditions, but here's what I do know. If she was there on time, that's defamation if Rosie O'Donnell is saying she wasn't, which leads me to believe Rosie O'Donnell has inside information about the fact that Lindsay Lohan was basically a mess during her SNL hosting gig. And by the way, I don't know if you saw her hosting gig. She just looked terrible. It was
she didn't look great, but we know that the girl is working through some shit.
Right, that's true. So Rosie O'Donnell's point was you shouldn't employ people in the industry that are messes like Whitney Houston, Charlie Sheen, all these people. Mm-hmm. So she badmouths her. So then, okay, cut to Lindsay Lohan, who there's this clip of her where she says very calmly, it's amazing that someone who doesn't know you at all can say something so intrusive and so knowing. You should really refrain until you've met the person. Okay.
Oh, that was deep, Lilo.
That was a good comment when I relay it back to you.
Right.
It sounds really together.
It does.
And like someone wrote it for her.
Yeah.
Too bad the video was coupled with the audio because it was a disaster. Okay. Her mouth was gigantic. Clearly, she's had some recent injections, so she looked like a pufferfish.
Oh.
On top of that, her eyes are droopy. She looked like she was completely out of it, and she was sort of wobbly. Now, I'm no expert on drug use, but something tells me she doesn't have her act together. And you know, people who are sober, they always go, I'm X amount of days sober.
Right.
They're proud of it. They tout it.
Right.
I think if that were the case with her, she would have openly said, I'm sober and I don't appreciate her talking trash about me. But
probably so.
Oh my God, she just looks so bad. And I used to not want to talk about people. I had this rule on the blog that if you're a hot mess, I'm not going to attack you because I don't think it's helpful.
Right.
But I've changed the rule. And I'll tell you why. Because I agree with Rosie O'Donnell. If Hollywood is going to continue to employ you when you're a hot mess, it's not good for you. It's facilitating your addiction, basically. Yeah. You're continuing to get paid and get money for your poor behavior.
Yeah, I will agree with
that. Thank you.
But I kind of feel like at the same time, being devil's advocate, if that was the case, there'd be a lot of Hollywood actors unemployed right now.
Well, you make a good point. You definitely make a good point. But, I mean, some of this bad behavior, like she was on Glee recently. And do you remember the coach who's...
Sue Sylvester?
No, the other one, Miss Beatty or whatever. She's kind of masculine. The black one. No. She's white.
Well...
Oh my God. Anyway, let's just, before I get myself in any more trouble trying to describe this woman, I honestly stopped watching Glee a long time ago.
Coach Beast.
Yes.
There it is.
Thank
Coach
you.
Beast, ladies
Yay.
and gentlemen.
Coach Beast. Okay. She tweeted, I hate when people show up late. And that was the day that Lindsay Lohan was supposed to be there. And then I think TMZ or something confirmed that it was Lindsay Lohan who was late once again. I know how the industry works. You can only be late so many times before people stop hiring you.
Yeah.
Because really, when you do stuff like that, it puts the entire production back and costs a ton of money because you have to pay people to be there. They show up, they're getting paid.
Yeah.
And if you delay production by X amount of hours, all those people who were there at the right time have to be paid.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm rich. So anyway, then they invited Rosie O'Donnell back to respond to Lindsay Lohan's pufferfish comments. And then she said something which I thought to be profound, which was when Whitney Houston was on her downward spiral, no one said anything. They just sort of allowed it and liked that there were ratings. And I'm going to say something. And I did meet her. She was on my show when she was a kid. And I stand by my comments. And I thought, well, I like you. I just like Rosie O'Donnell.
You like Roro.
I love her. I want to be her friend. I liked her show. I watched it when I was a kid.
That was a good show.
Great show.
That was a good show.
And I liked her on The View. And by the way,
I thought that there were aspects of her that was very good on The View. And then sometimes she just didn't.
Well,
like the shit
sometimes
out
she
of
flew off the handle.
it. Yeah,
However,
she went crazy.
she resurrected The View. I mean, let's
Oh,
be
yeah.
real.
Yeah.
All the stuff that they're doing on The View now were Rosie O'Donnell's ideas.
No, they absolutely were.
She
I will
came
give
up
her
with
that credit.
Yeah, she came up with changing the set. She came up with all of the a lot of the live performances that they do were her idea. The
Yeah.
giveaways to the audience was her
Yeah.
idea. Just in general, making the show more fun
Yeah,
was
she
all
revamped it when she came on.
completely.
Absolutely.
The ratings went up, and
Yeah.
then Whoopi Goldberg came in. I like Whoopi too, but Whoopi Goldberg rolled into what Rosie O'Donnell created.
Yeah. No, I honestly give her complete credit for that. It was just when she went batshit crazy.
She did for sure. That
was where,
Elizabeth fight.
like, things needed to be addressed.
That
because
epic-
she flew off the handle.
Yes, but again, in my opinion, that's what makes her so great. You know, when you have greatness, you fly off the handle sometimes. And for those who know me, I am not always completely controlled. And, well, I think I'm brilliant. I don't know about you. And, you know, brilliance comes at a cost.
True.
That fight with Elizabeth Hasselbeck when they did the split screen,
was just crazy.
epic.
Yeah.
I personally loved it because I thought it was just completely epic.
It's an epic episode, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, you gotta YouTube that. Oh, it was so good. And it was like, what I loved about it was that Elizabeth wasn't backing down.
Not at all.
And neither was Rosie.
No.
And Rosie looked like she was about to cry.
Yeah.
And she wasn't. And it just was this back and forth. And of course, Rosie hated the producers because they didn't cut to commercial.
Oh,
They
yeah.
wanted to keep it going.
When they
But-
did the split screen, I was like, this shit just got real.
Yeah, and I remember reading about it at the time. She was mad that they didn't cut to commercial and that they were capitalizing on this very real fight back and forth. But you know what? It's reality television, then keep it running.
Yeah,
It's
and
going to
that's
be
where
real.
They're going to get ratings climbing up.
Yeah, I mean, you can't expect the producers to go, you know what?
For your sake.
For your
We're gonna
sake.
cut to
Yeah.
commercial.
Yeah, we're going to cut to commercial during one of the best moments in television history because, well, we're worried about you. Come on. No one is going to do that,
Yeah,
right?
No, that's definitely not going to happen.
Speaking of The View, well, I would like to go to my next segment here. Drum roll, please.
Is it going to be more dominatrix stories?
No. Shh for the drum roll. God, you're so rude. This segment is called The Ladies of The View Are Crazy. Okay. Did you watch The View this week at all? So there was a hot topic, which was about 20 minutes talking about the G-spot. All right. Now, when the ladies of The View talk about sex, I'm somewhat grossed out for many reasons.
Many reasons, yeah.
Let me just give you the list of reasons if
Please
you
do.
will just go with me on this ride. Pun intended. All right. So let me just point by point tell you why I'm grossed out. Elizabeth Hasselbeck constantly talks about how she's not having sex in her marriage because she doesn't want to have another child.
Right.
Now, whenever she makes a joke, no one laughs, so it's always awkward. So, first of all, why are you not having sex in your marriage? I think that's weird. Stop talking about that.
Exactly. That should not be shared.
Yeah, and then Whoopi Goldberg always talks about how she's like old and gross, which I don't think that's hot. Like, stop talking about that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my boobs are on the floor. It's like, no,
That's
no one
hilarious.
wants to know about that. And then Joy always talks about how her sex is diminished now that she's old. And then Barbara will chime in and say, doesn't matter that I'm old, I'm still doing it.
She's a freak.
Yeah, you know,
She is a
you know,
freak.
Barbara is having lots of sex.
Yeah.
And then Whoopi's always grossed out at the thought of Barbara having sex.
I
So
think
she-
anybody in America would be, because it's like your grandmother talking about
Well,
sex.
Oh, I love Barbara.
No, and I'm saying this in the most
I
endearing
love
way
her.
possible because
Aw.
Barbara is amazing. But here's the thing.
I think she's hot. I love her.
I don't want to hear about my grandparents doing the nasty.
T, you're fired.
No, you're fired. Okay. No, I will stand by this.
Oh, I love her. But okay, but what I find funny is that Whoopi is always grossed out by Barbara, but yet Whoopi's the one talking about how her boobs are on the floor. I don't get it. Like, enough.
It's wrong on both ends.
You know what?
okay?
It's wrong on all levels. Everyone is in the wrong.
Yeah.
And then Sherry never chimes in on the sex talk, which I don't know.
She's religified.
Probably because she's religious.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they do this whole segment on the G-spot and how it doesn't exist. Now, I'm confused by this because you and I both know the G-spot. There's no debate on this.
No.
It exists.
There's a magic spot.
What? Right?
Yes.
The whole panel, all 5 of these women say the G-spot is a myth.
I'll say it, ladies. You're batshit crazy.
Right?
If that's what you think.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
What is wrong with them? First of all, they shouldn't be talking about this on daytime television, which is
Definitely no.
confusing for me. Isn't this, what are you doing? Why are you talking about so much sex? You know what? I should change the name of this segment to the ladies of the View need to get laid.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Why are you?
Because
So,
Barb's seems to be doing just fine.
Oh,
She's like, I know what's up. Okay.
well, there was a segment where she goes, you know, I have some friends and I'm in a circle and we are all having sex. And I thought, you go, Barbara.
Yeah, you know she's in a swingers club.
I
Please.
love her.
Throw the keys in the fishbowl, kids.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Oh man, I love her so much. But very weird, right? This it's a myth. No, it's not a myth.
It's not a myth.
It's there. Not many men can find it, which is a whole other issue.
Exactly.
Am I right
Maybe
about that?
That's why they think it's a myth.
That's right.
That
Their
can be addressed in a
partners-
different day as well.
Their partners are not good.
Yeah.
I would say, what would you say? 1 in 50 men? Not that I'm a whore and I've experienced 50 men. However, I would just like to say maybe 1 in 50 you know where it is, right? It's a myth to men. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
Thank you. I thought that was a good point too. Okay, so next topic on this category. All right, remember how we were T and I went to lunch and we were talking about how Sherry Shepherd is just beyond ridiculous whenever she chimes in on the panel. So Barbara
Sherry.
Walters is talking about how Beyonce made the 50 most beautiful people list. And also, okay, let me just go on a tangent for a second. If Michelle Obama is in the issue, then she needs to be the most beautiful, right?
I would say so.
Just out of respect.
Yes. First lady. Hiya.
Yeah, she's the first lady. You can't have someone beat the first lady as
No,
the most
that
beautiful. She
doesn't-
shouldn't have been in the issue.
That doesn't seem right. Either keep her out of it or put her at number 1.
Right. I thought that was weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, okay. Barbara Walters is talking about, Beyonce is the most beautiful. And then they show a clip of a woman who's said to be the most beautiful woman in history or something. And the reason is because of symmetry. You know, they say, like, if you have the most symmetrical face, you're the most beautiful.
Right.
So then Sherry Shepherd, and they're talking physically, like what makes you, oh God, I hit this thing over the mic that Rob insisted on putting over the mic because he could hear my peas. I don't know. Sorry about that.
You could hear my peas.
That's neither here nor there. Anyway, so they show a picture of this woman who they say is physically the most beautiful because of symmetry. And then Barbara is sort of talking about what makes you beautiful physically.
Right.
All right. In comes Sherry Shepherd,
Of course.
who says, I think what makes Beyonce the most beautiful is her personality.
That's what she said?
That's what Sherry Shepherd said. So then Barbara says, that's not what we're talking about, which
No.
happens all the time on The View, which I love.
Yeah.
When Babs comes in and slaps your wrist and goes, be topical. What is wrong with you?
Focus, lady.
Man, Sherry Shepherd is the luckiest woman in America for getting that panel seat, right?
I just don't think I'll ever forget when she first started. And I was
Oh,
like,
and she said the world was flat.
yeah.
The earth is flat.
The earth is flat. Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on,
I
Cher
saw-
Bear.
I
You're
saw,
better than that.
I saw Barbara Walters on Howard Stern, and Stern mentioned that. He goes, isn't Sherry Shepherd basically stupid for thinking the earth? How do you get over that after she starts and says the earth is flat? So then Barbara Walters says, Sherry Shepherd is the most prepared of all of our panelists. She reads so much. And I thought, all right, you know what? Whatever. I don't
It's like
know.
homework for her, really, because I don't think I'll ever forget. And Whoopi called her out one day and just said, Mama, do your research before you come back here tomorrow. And
Yeah.
basically saying, shut the hell up until you know what you were talking about.
Yes, completely.
Oh, well, Sherry, you're getting there.
Uh,
Just take it one episode at a time, okay? And don't push yourself.
I'm confused about how you could remove her from the panel and it would be
It'd be
completely the
fine.
same.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say in her defense is she's kind of the only one who talks about her personal life on the panel.
Yes.
Everyone else is a little, Whoopi sometimes intervenes, but according to Whoopi, she'll always intervene and go, I've been to jail. It's like,
yeah,
Whoopi,
we'll
what?
do the random thing.
Huh?
I was a cokehead. Sorry.
Okay, next topic. Oh, this is going to be good. Very, very good. Oh, it's one of my favorites. Rob is
finish.
a genius.
Nice finish.
That is my drop specialist at Brick and Mortar Studios, where we are recording this podcast for the Dishmaster.com.
Yeah, buddy.
One day I'll learn how to do a sexy voice on the radio. Maybe. We'll do. Why did you put a laugh
Rob's
track
response
to that?
the most.
Come on, I have a sexy voice, man.
Rob totally has the face.
Everyone over here is trying to take me down a peg. I'm convinced of it. They just don't like my raging narcissism.
Keeping you humble.
All right. This is Celebrity Crazy.
Yes.
And let's start with Mel Gibson.
Please.
All right.
He's blown off the handle.
So I have a lot of thoughts about Mel Gibson.
Let's start.
For those of you who don't know, the Dishmaster is a Jew. Let's just start with that. So we're all aware.
This is out in the open.
So this is out in the open. So we all know that my perspective is that of a Jew. I don't know what else to say about that. Okay. So Mel Gibson was on The Tonight Show. And he was clearly nervous. He's obviously friends with Jay Leno. And, well, we all know the story of Mel Gibson. He got really drunk one night after going to Moon Shadows, which I've never been to, but we got to go to Moon Shadows
yeah, we
one
really
day.
do got to hit
Just
that
to reenact the scene of the crime. I should start.
I think that would be so
I should just go get really drunk and start insulting Jews. I think we'll just reenact the whole Mel Gibson scene.
I think it'll go over really well.
I think so, too.
I think so.
So anyway, Mel Gibson got wasted, and now we find out later that it was like the day after he was getting a divorce or something, like his wife left him.
More acceptable.
You're right. That's irrelevant, actually. So he gets really drunk and he says, the police report, blah, blah, blah. He insults Jews while he's wasted. So then on top of that, he gets in a relationship with a woman who secretly records him, and allegedly he beat her up and yelled some crazy things, and she released the recordings. Okay. Then it just gets better and better.
There's
Yay.
more.
Okay, so then he recently was recorded by a writer of he's coming out with that Maccabees movie,
Yep.
which I'm not even going to get into the whole
we don't even need
decision
to,
to make the who cares?
Yeah.
So
It's just
it's ridiculous on so many levels.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he just make a shirt that says "I love Jews" if he's so wanting to repent? Okay, so he starts yelling at the writer for doing a really crappy job, and then the writer records it and releases it to the media. So Mel Gibson goes on The Tonight Show, and now, okay, if you didn't know this story completely or believe everything, it would have been a really good interview, because he says in the interview, I don't know if you know this, but I have a really bad temper, which I thought that was funny, because
you don't have to come and confess.
if you listen to the recordings of Mel Gibson's tirade, it's almost funny.
Yeah, it really is.
He can't even breathe. He's yelling at the top of his lungs, and he's not even saying anything of substance. You know, sometimes when you have a fight with someone and they say things of substance, like, I've always thought that you're the stupidest person I know, or you're a fat ass, and you're like, I'm fat, what? Or, you know, something that's legitimate, like, you know, F you, you have the most annoying voice ever. Who knows?
Who knows?
Okay. So then that's like, okay, you just insulted me in the middle of a fight, but you said what you really feel.
Right.
With Mel Gibson, it's more like, I've never heard anything like it. I mean, it's so crazy. He's not even saying anything. He's just like panting and like yelling these weird things. And I imagine if I saw him in the act, if I knew he wouldn't beat me up, I would just sit there like as if I was in a movie staring at the crazy man. You know what it's like? It's like when you're at Starbucks and there's a crazy person around, and you just sort of kind of go, well, I don't know what to do. There's a crazy
we
person.
That last weekend, in case you forgot.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
T and I had some breakfast chat, and there was a crazy man beside us, and we just sort of looked at him. I mean, what do you do? I don't know what you do. I mean, you can't really help the guy. So, although T kindly tried to buy him a sandwich, but then he disappeared.
And he mumbled walking away.
Neither here nor there, but I thought it was nice to talk about how you're very giving.
Oh,
so,
thanks, V.
Anyway, so it's so nuts, right? So he goes on The Tonight Show, and he in my opinion, looked good in the interview. However, when you know all the facts, you think, well, okay, does he hate Jews? Is he a wife beater? We don't know. And if those things are true, can he be forgiven? Now, if he would, here's what I want from Mel Gibson. Well, first of all, I want him to do an interview with me because I'm a Jew and I'm willing to talk to him. And I think that would
be
do
very entertaining, honestly.
Yeah, because I want to sit him down and say, we all know his father is a Holocaust denier. So, yeah. So, and he won't talk about that. He did an interview with Diane Sawyer where Diane Sawyer asked him, isn't it true that your father denies the Holocaust? And Mel Gibson said, this interview is about me. I don't want to talk about my father. Right. Now, nice try. Everybody knows your father denies the Holocaust, so they naturally assume
that you are one and the same.
Exactly. Yep. Here's what he should say in response to that. I am not my father. I disagree with his philosophy. I think it's offensive. I think it's ridiculous, but he is my father. Yep. There's nothing I can do about it at this point, right?
Yep.
That's what he needs to say.
That's exactly what he needs to say.
But he refuses to sit down and have a conversation about it. He did an interview with Deadline Hollywood, which was transcribed, which in my opinion is a bad idea. And he said, I never thought, I was in an intimate relationship with somebody and I never thought that they would violate my trust by taping me. But again, did you smack her in the face? I want to know. And if you did, are you getting help for it? Just admit it. It's the only way to, although it didn't work for Chris Brown.
I know. I wonder if they're BFFs.
Which is, by the way, our next topic. But, oh, fuck, I ruined it.
Damn it.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, either come forward and give a full admission, and he's got to do an interview with Barbara Walters because she's Jewish. He has to. Yeah. If your career is in the shitter, there is only one person you can do an interview with, and that is Barbara Walters.
That's true.
It's not Diane Sawyer, who is the worst interviewer on the planet. Oh my God, I hate Diane Sawyer.
How are you not entertained by her? I don't understand.
Man, she's awful. Do you ever watch her interviews? She has this look on her face during the interviews like she just ate shit.
Like it's very strained.
It's she's got everything you're saying is so strange. Yeah. She's got that look on her face like, who are you? It's like, Diane, relax.
Just ease up, just an interview, babe.
Yeah, she interviewed JC Duggard and she had that look on her face of, I can't imagine being raped. Ugh. And then there's this weird pause. And then JC says, I can't imagine being beat to death, but someone's been beat to death. And I thought, JC, why don't you just interview yourself? Right? Because it's really what's happening here. This is just outrageous.
That's the truth.
Man, I love Barbara. One day, I'm just laying it out here right now on this podcast. One day, Barbara and I will meet and we will be friends.
I feel like we've heard this.
Have we?
I think so.
Well,
we're hearing it again.
Yeah. You know those crazy people who have vision boards? This is my vision board.
This is your vision board.
You met people like that?
This is the secret.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The secret. Manifest your destiny.
Manifest.
Man. So speaking of wife beating, can we move to our next topic, which is the Chris Brown, Brandy collaboration?
Oh, God.
Okay. So.
He makes me sick.
So. All right, here's my question, and this kind of goes back to the Mel Gibson thing. If you are a wife beater, if you did engage in domestic violence, are you eternally damned or can you be forgiven and let back into the public?
I think you can be forgiven, but not when you become more of a roughneck.
Meaning you think Chris Brown's gotten...
If you look at him, he's become... harder, should we say? Is that the appropriate word? It's just like he doesn't give a damn at all about the fact that he's beaten Rihanna. He's like, yeah, I did it.
Right. Well, but he's also defensive because people keep bringing it up and he is frustrated.
Because he has not one time come out and said, I am sorry that I have done that. And
he did. He tried. I mean, to be fair, he went on Larry King and talked about it.
Okay, it was a shitty attempt to do it.
Okay, but here's my controversial question about that. Not that I'm defending Chris Brown, but I'm just posing this question. So if Chris Brown was well educated and was a great speaker and really, really intelligent, and then went on Larry King and said, listen, I'm obviously troubled. I've been to therapy. I regret what I did. You'd forgive him. My question is, because Chris Brown is not the best speaker, well educated, does that mean he's not contrite? I'm not saying he's contrite. I'm just saying, is it fair to say that he's not contrite just because he can't properly articulate his regret?
No, I believe that he is sorry for what he did. I do believe that. I just believe that his team is doing a really shitty job at showing that he is a changed person. Because you can't beat Rihanna and then a week later go sing the national anthem at a boxing match.
Right.
That's
Obviously.
inappropriate.
Right. I
think he's being
I didn't know about that, but thank you.
You're welcome.
That's why you're very valuable
Fun
here
fact.
at thedishmaster.com.
Hide your wife.
Yeah.
Thank you. You should hide your wife.
I hear what you're saying. I think that he's made some really poor decisions, and I also think that the Twitter rants about F you for constantly attacking me.
I just think that it was very poorly mismanaged, and he could very well be sorry, but you didn't articulate it very well.
Yeah, I'm not, I wrote a post about how I'm not for eternally damning someone for their bad behavior, because then they'll never rehabilitate.
Right.
And then a friend of mine sent me the police report of the Rihanna beating and just how brutal it was.
It was horrific.
Oh, yeah. So I read the whole police report, and it really was terrible. I mean, it wasn't just this fit of madness. It was like continuous over a period of time.
Yes.
So he beat her, and then there was time lapse, and then he beat her again. But I still I maintain that if he is contrite and if he did rehabilitate, then he should be allowed to sell records and make a living in life.
Absolutely.
It's just the fact that he hasn't proven that he's rehabilitated.
Not at all.
Which I think, in my opinion, is the same problem Mel Gibson has.
Yeah.
People don't believe he's contrite. I think if people are very forgiving. If they believe you've done the work, they're willing to admit you back.
Absolutely.
But the fact that he hasn't, he's still angry. He's still going on Twitter rants and whatever. And that's why it's still an issue.
Yeah.
And then remember, he was like on Good Morning America and ripped his shirt off and ran through the streets because he was angry about the Rihanna questions.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, they're not, in my opinion, his team just has not played it right. And for that, it's going to bite him in the ass, whether he likes it or not.
To be fair, though, sometimes the celebrity doesn't listen to the team. But,
no, not at all.
But yeah, we don't know.
He also, it just comes to the matter of looking at the big picture. Rihanna may have forgiven you and whatever, but the public's not going to forget what you have done.
Do you think that Brandy should not have collaborated with him?
I mean,
do we blame Brandy here?
We don't blame Brandy because, listen, Chris Brown gets the numbers.
Why is Brandy so unlikable? Do you like her?
No.
I don't know why she's so unlikable. I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, and that's the thing I feel bad about, because you have those people where you just look at them and you're like, I really just want to punch you in the face.
I don't like you.
Yeah,
it takes somebody to figure it out. I have no idea, but every time I see her, I think, I don't like you.
Yeah, and she seems like she could be a nice person.
Yeah. Did you see?
I just can't get
on
board.
Did you see her new video with Monica?
Oh, Lord.
Oh my God!
Why?
That has to be.
The Boy Is Mine, and that was great.
That was so great.
Why did you have to push your luck?
Oh my God!
The Boy Is Mine was awesome.
That video is horrific.
Yeah. Horrible.
Oh my God.
Horrible.
Let me just tell the audience why it's so bad, and then please Google it at your convenience and watch this monstrosity. So the lyrics, it's almost akin to a country song, how literal the lyrics are. She's singing about Facebook and a Mac computer. And then
that is what R&B has come to, folks.
There's these, oh my God, I know. And then there's these close-ups of her face, and there's no music. It's just like pan in on Brandy's disturbed looking face and then pan back out. What is happening? It's so weird. There's these weird pauses, and I don't even know what the song is about. I think it's sort of like Beyonce's To the Left. Do you remember? But yet, I think that's what they're going for. Man, I don't need you. You're a sock. Get your sock. It's always, women are always scorned in these songs, right? And then I ask them, maybe you have bad taste. I don't know. I mean, that could be the problem. Maybe you just don't know how to pick them, right? But
It'd be
man,
like that sometimes.
Music today is there's so many great musicians out there, and then you put out this processed crap and you think, you're done.
Yeah.
Speaking of being done, can we please talk? Did you see Adam Lambert's performance on Jimmy Kimmel? Oh my God. So are you an Adam Lambert fan?
I can't get on board.
Man, I love Adam Lambert. Like, love his voice. But
yeah, his voice, amazing.
I actually think he might have been better putting out a cover album as his first album and being done with it.
Yeah.
Because thank you. I pay Rob to put clapping drops when I make points that are not necessarily the greatest.
It's true.
But
I witnessed this before the podcast started.
I basically, in fact, I pay all my friends to give me constant accolades, and I'm fine with that. So anyway, whatever. The point is, he performed on his original material on Jimmy Kimmel, and I'm not in love with it, and it's a bummer, but what can you do?
What are you going to do?
Next on the music list is a continuation of our last podcast, which is the Left Eye hologram.
Oh,
man.
Left Eye Tupac.
Wow.
It's all too much.
What on earth? So if you did not listen to the last podcast, aside from being eternally damned, you missed the wonderful discussion about the Tupac hologram. And T and I are not in favor of it. We think it's creepy.
Upset me.
And then now we find out that TLC is thinking of going on tour with Left Eye
Lopez
as a hologram. T, can you just take the floor on this one and talk about how disturbing it is?
It really upsets me because, one, for those of us that have had an emotional attachment to TLC and appreciated Waterfalls and Scrubs and all that stuff.
Love Scrubs.
And then you're bringing back someone that we had such an emotional connection to, and it's still not real because you're still looking at this hologram and you're saying nothing about this looks natural.
Doesn't it feel like almost immoral and like vulturous to prey on?
It's a little sick.
It's
a little sick.
It is sick.
Yeah.
It's
not
so gross.
Sick like, dude, that's cool. No,
yeah.
Sick like, I'm upset by this.
Well, first of all, it would have been a good opportunity to bring somebody else into the group, in my opinion, to give somebody a chance.
Right.
And second, it feels like you're capitalizing on Lisa's death in a way.
Yeah.
Like, it's bizarre. Let the dead rest in peace.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a million reasons that it's disturbing.
You're still making money off of the songs that you guys all had together, you know? And I mean...
Find someone else or do it as a duo.
Yeah. But I mean, don't...
Yeah, no, I know. I know I'm brilliant. Thank you. I'm aware.
Don't try and raise the dead. It's
yes.
not right.
Can we... I forgot to mention this topic, but let's drumroll it, please, because it is worth discussing in our celebrity crazy category. All right. Did you or did you not see Alicia Silverstone mouth feeding her child?
Disgusting.
All right. Let's just take a moment of silence, if we can, to mourn. Well, I don't know what we're mourning. I think we're appreciating how fucking insane Alicia Silverstone is. Let's take a moment of silence. And done. Moment of silence. What the fuck is wrong with her? So, let's just tell the audience what we're talking about. Oh, God. Alicia Silverstone. There's a video on the internet of her chewing her food and spitting it into her child's mouth.
Like she's a damn bird.
Like she's a bird. Now, I wouldn't have mentioned this because it's a dated story. It was about like a month ago that this happened, and I attacked her on the Dishmaster.com about it because I think it's disgusting. But she's been receiving a lot of flack for it, and she released some new, defenses about it because people are so disturbed. So I thought it was worthy of bringing up. So her defense is that people have been doing this for years. Oh, I understand that people are weirded out about it, but people have been doing it for hundreds of years and you just don't know about it. Okay. Anyone who uses tradition to justify their crazy is crazy.
Yeah.
slavery was a tradition at one point. People did that for
Let's
hundreds of
bring it
years.
back.
Like, really, was that okay? I mean, do you also mail things via carrier pigeon? I'm just curious, right? I mean, do you not email? Do you give it to the stork to deliver your like what? At what point do you say, no?
It's repulsive.
It's repulsive, and the justification leads me to believe that she's insane. At what point do you say, all of America thinks I'm a weirdo? Maybe I'm actually a weirdo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Please.
I have maybe seen a couple other people in my life do this.
You're kidding.
I've witnessed it.
You're kidding.
And there are people out there that will listen to this podcast. You know who you are, and I am sorry.
You know people like this?
Yes.
I think you should defriend them on Facebook.
It is gross.
Let me just say.
And it is wrong.
Defriend them on Facebook.
Yeah.
Right? And when you
It's
do,
horrible.
send them a message that says, I want you to know I'm defriending you on Facebook. And the reason is because you mouth feed your child.
And it's so wrong.
Right?
It is wrong.
That is, you really know people who do that?
I do.
Do you
There are
know
people in my
people-
life that can attest to me witnessing this.
Oh my God.
And people that are close to me have
Do you-
witnessed this.
Do you know people who kiss their children on the mouth?
Yes.
I'm not into that
I'm
either.
not.
I think that's really weird.
It's not my thing.
Well, so one of the things I wrote on the Dishmaster about the mouth feeding is that it's almost child abuse, and I kind of think it is. Like, no, let me just
Okay.
go with me on this
Okay.
ride. First of all, when you look at the video of Alicia, I really do believe it's child abuse. You look at the video of Alicia Silverstone doing this, and the kid doesn't want it. Like, he's moving his head around, and then she sort of continues to try, and then she finally gets it in his mouth, and then she looks at the camera with this like disgusting smile,
Yeah.
like, look what I've done.
Yeah.
Which leads me to believe she's actually beyond crazy, because she's posting it on YouTube, she's posting it on her blog,
Yeah.
which means she's proud of it, which is disgusting.
Yeah. It's just,
First of all, people, do you still like does she have a really hairy vagina? I'm just curious, because back in the day we sat on rocks, and that's why we have hairy vaginas, so that it can protect us, because we didn't have clothes. Maybe she has a hairy vagina. I don't know. I mean, how far do we take this tradition argument? I'm just curious, right?
it's making me so nauseous.
It's just it's so ridiculous, and it just proves how when you live in the crazy house for a certain amount of time, you start to live the crazy.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah.
like, I remember I was watching Project Runway once, and Tim Gunn, do you ever watch Project Runway?
All the time.
I'm in love with Tim Gunn. He's
Yes.
my favorite reality star of all time.
Make it work.
And Make It Work. Yeah, no, I love that. I love Make It Work. Yeah. I love it. You know, I read an interview with him where they asked him how he got the job. And that he said that the producers put him in a room when they asked him in an interview, they said, and Tim Gunn's got a stellar resume, you know, but they said, if we told you that we needed a wedding dress in a day, what would you say? And he said, I would say, make it work.
Yeah.
You know, if you need a wedding dress in a day, then that's what we're going to
need it in
do.
a day.
And the producer said every other person that we asked said, that's impossible. You can't make a wedding dress in a day. And that's how Tim Gunn got the job, which I
Wow.
thought was really great.
He's fabulous.
But he went, I know, it's so great. So he went to someone's house. And, you know, in the final before Bryant Park, when they
Right.
air their collections,
Right.
he goes to their house and gives them advice. And he went to this guy's house, and the guy was making, instead of using fur, he was using human hair. And Tim Gunn was super creeped out.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he said to him was, if you live in the monkey house too long, you stop smelling the shit. And he goes, step outside the monkey house and then walk back into the monkey house, and you will smell the shit. And I thought, wow, that is brilliant.
That is brilliant.
And that is
Give it to
how,
Tim
that is
Gunn.
exact. If only Tim Gunn could go for coffee with Alicia Silverstone and they could have a conversation about smelling monkey shit. Because I feel as if she found some crazy guy to marry her who bought this crazy train, started to ride the
Yes.
crazy train. And he just decided, you know what? Hey, like, let's do whatever you want, because whatever, I'm sure you know what's best.
Yeah.
And then she was like, honey, they've been doing this for 500 years. They've been, I'm a bird. I'm a bird. Yay, I'm a bird.
There's
Right?
no way.
Fucking crazy.
There's no way. No.
It's just, I can't, first of all, I can't believe you even know people who engage in this crazy behavior.
Oh, they're not close.
Oh, they're not close.
No.
Oh, you think that they're going to listen to this?
If they do, they know who they are.
Wow.
And I do not feel guilty about calling them out because, listen, it's gross.
So gross.
And I'm pretty sure they knew it was gross because I looked at them with the most repulsed reaction ever. I was like, this whole thing is repulsive. You're sitting at my dinner table.
It's weird.
Chewing food and putting it into your child's mouth.
Oh my God. It's so weird too. Like certain celebrities are so normal.
Yep.
You know, I've heard from so many people, for example, Reese Witherspoon is the coolest, most down to earth, most normal person ever.
Yeah.
And then you hear about wackadoodles like Lisa Silverstone. And these people were probably insane their entire life and just, got away with it and then got a vehicle to expose their crazy and thought they were so right and
Absolutely.
continued to, we have a visitor. No, we're very serious here. Get out. Sorry about that. We're engaged in a professional podcast and we have a person who just entered the room and disturbed me. Anyway, speaking of celebrity crazy, next on the list of the crazy is Mariah and Nick renewing their wedding vows.
Oh, yes.
Can we talk about this for a second and whether this is like a appropriate thing to do? How do you feel about this?
I believe, you celebrate like the milestones. Like, I've been married for 20 years. Holy shit, let's have a party. Like the 50 years. That's a big accomplishment. The little things like that, I believe should be celebrated. But doing the yearly renewals and the...
Have we learned nothing from Seal and Heidi Klum, by the way?
Yeah, like the yearly renewals don't work. They do not work.
You know how I feel about it? It's they talked about this on The View too when Seal and Heidi Klum got divorced and they said, these people were renewing their wedding vows every year. And then Barbara Walters goes, maybe it's not a good sign when you renew your wedding vows every year. And I thought,
I really
that
don't
is
think
brilliant.
it is. Because, and here's another thing. My mother and I enjoy watching Basketball Wives. And there is a couple on there that renews their wedding vows every year and has big, extravagant parties and all of this stuff. And in one of the episodes, she decided to confess, well, in the beginning, there was a lot of infidelity and we had a lot of problems. And by doing the renewals, that's how we started working through this stuff.
Exactly.
You don't
so
work
there's
through
a problem.
You know that there's a problem. Just go to therapy and get it worked out then.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that means
It's
something
weird.
needs to be addressed. And renewing your vows does not address what the heart of the problem is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know who's to say, but I just thought it was a weird situation.
No, listen, I believe that when my parents get to 50 years, we're going to have a big ass shindig for them because that's
How long have your parents been married?
They're in 30s.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Can we have a clap on that, please? Mr. Expert over there.
Yes.
Thank you.
My parents are pretty fabulous and they're an awesome couple. And I believe that when they hit those big milestones that they will celebrate it accordingly.
Yes, it's always a weird sign.
But I believe like wedding anniversary, take a romantic vacation together. Be normal.
I just loved, though, that comment by Barbara Walters. And she goes, maybe it is not a good sign when you renew your wedding vows.
Your love obsession with Babs.
All right. Before we wrap this up, can we talk about some Dishmaster news?
Do it.
Yeah.
Big news.
So we have my interview with Macy Gray that is about to go live on Tuesday.
Yeah, buddy.
Can I just say how much I love her? It is not an audio interview. I transcribed it, but man, I love her.
She was good, huh?
I love her. She was so friendly and so great. And I just think
she's real.
real, yeah, and so funny and self-deprecating, which I always love self-deprecating humor. This is
Right.
definitely one of my favorites of all time.
Good.
So great, loved her. I was very nervous because I think she's a major A-lister, so
Yeah.
I thought she, you always assume A-listers are going to be
Horrible to deal with.
yeah, just for no other reason than the fact that they're an A-lister, but so awesome
Yeah.
and the coolest voice ever. I wish she was in person and we could have done an audio interview because I love her
Oh,
voice
that would
so
have been
much.
amazing.
Maybe another time,
Yeah.
but definitely on my favorites of all time list.
Big ups to Macy Gray.
If you saw the video of me while I was doing the interview, I had this huge smile on my face because she was just so friendly.
You were like a kid on Christmas morning, huh?
Yeah, I did another interview not too long ago, and it was a great interview. But I didn't feel like, man, I want to go for coffee with you.
Yeah.
Whenever you feel like you want to go for coffee, it's a great interview.
Oh, yeah.
I interviewed a long time ago. I interviewed a guy named Mike Doty,
Right.
who I also loved,
Yes.
but I didn't feel. Well, the story of my life. I did not. I did not feel that the love was mutual.
You didn't feel that
Oh,
connection.
Man, no, it's a bummer. But we are Facebook friends, me and Mike. But no,
The Dishmaster.
yeah, I don't. Well, he didn't love the Dishmaster, and I tend to become a psycho stalker when I feel the potential for friendship with people I admire.
Do you?
Well, yes, yes. If it's not mutual, I get sad.
And
But
then I will know what you're doing.
But
every
yeah,
single day.
at least I've accomplished a few Facebook friendships. Although Macy and I'm not going to ask because
It might be too soon.
it's too
It might
soon.
be too soon.
Again,
I know.
story of my life.
Yeah.
It's too soon.
Just keep playing it out.
man.
Seeing where it goes.
You're right. I should feel it
Yeah,
out.
just
I
feel
should,
it out a little bit.
You're
Give
right.
it some time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I should wait. I should make sure it's the proper timing.
Let it age like a wine.
Yeah.
Just give it a little bit of time.
I like that.
You're
T.
welcome.
Age like a wine.
Yes.
And then, so that is going live on Tuesday. It is a great interview, so I'm very excited. And then next on Dishmaster News, today I am interviewing a band called Monsters Calling Home.
They're amazing.
Love them.
If you ever have a chance to go and see them in concert, go.
Man, they're
it's
good.
a must.
That's the great thing about LA, which is so awesome, is that you can go see live music that's incredible, that doesn't cost anything, which is
Yes.
just so great. I love it.
I have been so fortunate to be introduced to this crew.
Yes, yes. LA's
LA's
got some really, really great music.
Yes.
So stay tuned for that. We will also put that on the podcast at some point when we do the interview. But all right, how long are we? Just go ahead and talk. What? 56 minutes, T.
We got skills.
We are on fire. All right. Thank you for listening to our third podcast at thedishmaster.com.
That's right.
And not next week. We are taking a week hiatus and we'll be back in 2 weeks because
We'll have plenty of dish for you.
our drop specialist will not be here at Brick and Mortar Studios.
He's
And we,
leaving us.
quite frankly, cannot function without him.
Yes, it makes us very upset.
It's sad, and I don't appreciate him having a life outside of this podcast, but
I'm a
there's
little
nothing I can
resentful
do.
today, so I apologize.
Yeah. I mean, it's rude. Doesn't he know how gigantic we are?
Yeah.
No.
Don't we need to talk about this?
Yeah.
We are the talent.
Yes. How dare you?
I feel